question. In what way has AI made journalism better for you and not just faster?
I think the magic source is in the prompt. It's about making sure you understand context engineering, making sure that you've got the right grounded data, and making sure that the prompt properly has your style guidelines built into it. Because as we know, if you just ask an AI to write something, it's going to be very rhythmical. If X, then Y, etc. It's going to have patterns which very obviously read as AI. What you want to do is you need to have something which is going to understand what the style that you're looking for is, but also, and I think it's really important to understand this, it's not that first shot isn't going to get it right. It's going to have a human come along and fix it, and I think that's the important thing.
So I think that's a question that it's applicable to almost every single industry right now. But when we are talking about journalism, I think that we should understand that this is a technology that is bringing a structural change. So with that perspective, we need to understand that what we need to change is how newsrooms are, or the workflows of the newsrooms are designed to work an AI system with a journalist, how we can use AI to change the way we deliver news. I mean, stop thinking that a news is an article, it's an audio, or it's a video. We should start thinking on many formats at the same time, adapted to different to each person's preferences in each time of the day, etc., etc. And we also need to understand that this technology can help us in bring more transparency on how we do journalism. And that's something that we need to take it into account, because if we want to create trust with our audiences or to rebuild trust with our audiences, we need to be more transparent on how we build the stories that we build.
I think the most important thing is to make sure the AI is genuinely useful. Make sure the AI is part of the workflow. If somebody has to go somewhere else outside of where they're working, whether that's their CMS or whatever, then it is putting burden on them. It's slowing them down. So the AI has to be 100% built into the workflow. It has to be good enough. They have to use it and be confident that it's good enough for them to use. Good enough doesn't mean it's perfect. AI isn't perfect and it's not going to be perfect. But if you can use it and you can say, oh, well, that was quicker, having used the AI, somebody will use it again. So it's actually it's not on the individual. It's not the responsibility of necessarily the journalist. It's the responsibility of the team that are putting it in front of the journalist, to make sure that it's good enough to use.
Well, I think that when I say news experiences is to change or to challenge the traditional conception of news. So when we say news to anyone, they think on a newspaper, on a radio station, or on the television, or maybe on a content creator on YouTube. But it's a more stacked or a more stacked format. And when I say news experiences, I say that we should put more focus on each person preference. So, for example, I can detect that you like to consume the X type of information during your mornings in X type of format, and that format can be a bullet point, can be a small summarization, can be many different types of things. Not only these three types are mentioned before. So that's how I believe that the news experiences should be, experiences that are adapted to your preferences, to your needs, instead of the news as we know them.
In terms of the workflow, I think AI it's probably possible to use it as an aid in most parts of the workflow, certainly within drafting, within error catching, but within style error catching, etc. I think the problem probably most comes with fact checking. That's something that you probably still want to have a lot of human agency in. But you could maybe use the AI for extracting sort of facts and atoms, if you like, of from a piece of news in order to then fact check it. But yeah, I think I would sort of, at the moment, I would say that I'm not quite sure I trust the AI as a fact checker. But as a, as an enabler at the beginning of the news gathering process for doing some deep research or something, absolutely, I think it's really useful, a really good way of getting at least that initial impetus on a story.
It makes sense, and it's actually healthy that people ask these questions of like, how is this actually affecting my job? How can I use it that best serves me? And where should I be skeptical, or where should I really pay attention of how this might be misleading, inaccurate, etc. So I actually take that skepticism as a positive thing, and then kind of like working with reporters, and in my case, because I work in the media industry, it's just about of like explaining how all of this works very transparently. I think there's a lot of power in understanding what's the underlying mechanism of AI, and how an input becomes an output, and how a prompt actually shapes those outputs. And the moment you understand how that works, you're better suited to use it for your particular case, and tweak it and evaluate the outputs better. So you just have like a better understanding of the mechanism, helps you in a better implementation. So it's just like a matter of like continuing asking those questions.
Yeah. So I know that adopting something new can be can give you many fears, because you don't know how it works. Sometimes you, especially with AI, you feel like, is it going to make some misinformation or some hallucinations? But my best advice is sit down, start understanding how it works and which is the possibilities that this technology will bring to you, and start playing with it. Because I mean, if we don't play with AI, if we don't understand how it works, if we don't imagine new possibilities, I mean, it's going to come for you now or later. But I mean, I understand, to the people that is afraid, I understand them, of course, but maybe if you can start, or if you can give some space to understand how it works and what are the possibilities, you can use the technology and also shape the direction on how is it being developed. So it's like, understand it, raise your voice, start creating to shape how this technology is being developed. I mean, it's a quite complicated question, because deploying an LLM is very expensive, very, very expensive. And the media is an industry that, I mean, doesn't swim on money. So that's why it's complicated. I think that there's a question around sovereignty that is being discussed in many industries. So, for example, like, or what is going to happen is that we are basically giving all our tacit knowledge to these types of LLMs, because each person prompts and gives information and uploads documents and everything, and that information is being used to retrain the models. And that tacit knowledge that we are giving to the LLMs is something that, I mean, can be used to can be used by other companies, because I mean, it's in the LLM. They are going to consult the same LLM, and it will give you a same approach or a similar approach.
Do you think it's a safety hazard, or like a safety issue for journalism and newsrooms?
I mean, I think it depends on how you use it and which services you use it. Because nowadays there are many services that you can use the LLMs, but with a layer that doesn't share the information to the providers. So I think, I mean, one is the sovereignty issue I was mentioning before, and the other one is, okay, I mean, we can't deploy an LLM. It's very expensive. It takes lots of time, resources, etc. But what we can do is maybe using this layer or making some adjustments or trying to understand how we can stop giving every single knowledge and content to these providers.
I don't think there's one specific tool, but there's a tool type that I would recommend that they play with, and that is to get an agentic harness which can talk to an LLM and to build skills. I think that's the interesting thing. You know, something like Microsoft's Copilot, something like Claude Desktop, something that you can build skills in and play with, because I think that's where it's most interesting at the moment. You might even want to go for OpenClaw, or I can't remember what OpenClaw is called now, but have a play with agents, because I think that's the most interesting area at the moment and the one where things are going to move in that direction.
I'm gonna say the top three that they're comfortable with and the ones that better serve their purposes, and I don't think there's a unique top three for any reporter or any news professional, whatever their role is. I really think that we're still in an experimentation phase, and you can even build your own tools, and you can find the ones that really resonate with the data that you work with the use case that you're looking to solve. So it really depends on the person.
At this point, I'm sure it will, but I think the value proposition we were talking about is that, you know, that's not our goal. Our goal isn't to have AI-generated content for readers, and I think part of the reason is the way I look at it is what we're selling is trust, and it's not that AI can't become trustworthy in creating content. I think it can be, but ultimately, what I look at it, and I think people trust humans, and at this point in time, where we are right now, the value proposition is we are not the machine telling you what's happening in the world. We're not scraping and writing it or writing a newsletter for you. I think it can be interesting. I think you can get the proper inputs to give value. But ultimately, the value is trust, and in order to say, we are the ones that are answering the questions that you are asking, and it's not somebody else. It's not a pre-programmed tool. And it's not that I don't believe in tools that can use it, but that is right now, in the zeitgeist we're in right now, having AI created content is just not going to create trust. When it happens, I'd be more than happy to look at that and, you know, would I trust it? You know, I'd evaluate it like a human and to say, is this going to work? And that'll be a bridge to cross when we get to it.